Hello everyone and welcome. I am selling the Volvo. Unfortunately, due to some unforeseen circumstances, I am forced to sell the car. Just before I was going on holiday, I decided to take it for a drive before the MOT expired. For the people living outside the UK, the MOT is the annual test that's done to all the vehicles over 3 years old, and basically it tests their roadworthiness. Things like the lighting, the braking system, suspension, other safety components such as the airbags, belt, and also body corrosion, as well as emissions. The car needed a bit of work in order to get through that, and then on previous videos I did mention that I was going to keep the car and get the work done. But then going back again to just before I went on holiday, I decided to take the car to work because it will be the day that it will go over the 721,000 miles. So the car has rewarded me with extra problems. On the way back from work, I started to notice a very strange noise that basically, as soon as I took the foot off the pedal, the noise would increase, but it would stop when every time I accelerated or brake. I am pretty sure it is something to do with the driver's drive shaft. I stopped to have a look at what was going on, and I noticed another problem, and that was a coolant leak. I'm not exactly sure where it is coming from, maybe from one of the top hoses, but the fact it was leaking coolant at the bottom of the radiator, so it could also have a radiator problem, but I'm not so sure. Unfortunately, there was a couple of personal events that has had an effect on my personal life, and due to that I am forced to sell the car. I simply haven't got the space. The car is not on my usual parking spot. I don't have the time, and certainly I don't have the money to carry on with the project. So I would like to sell the car to someone that can carry on with bringing this car back to life, basically. I'm going through all the aspects of the current condition of the car, and then we'll just take it from there. First of all, there's only one key. There you go. And there you are, all leather glory. There is a bit of a tear here on the seat, and also the seat belt is a little bit frayed, but it doesn't affect the way it operates. Now, I haven't started this car for 2 weeks. Basically, last time I went on holiday. There you go. Let me just turn off the radio. As you can see, check coolant, because coolant is low when I just got home. There is no real smoke emitting from the car at first start up, and it starts first time. There's a little bit of a typical diesel smell, but no smoke or anything like that. Starts first time every time, and apart from that light over there, which I'm going to stop the engine immediately, it's only the engine management light. But because this is a diesel car registered before 2008, it's not a test item, so it shouldn't be a failure. 721,028 miles, and it has the non-OEM radio. The aircon does not work because the condenser needs to be replaced, and as you can see in here, in terms of brakes, this actually goes quite high, so it needs a severe adjustment. The condition of the brakes is actually very good. The car brakes very well, but the rear discs will need, I'm just going to stop this. The rear discs were an advisory on the previous MOT test because of corrosion. As you can see in there, It's very hot. There you go. That's their current condition, but the front ones are actually quite good. Probably need to replace the brake fluid and also give a clean up to the calipers with put some grease on the calipers, guiding pins and so on. The interior is actually not in bad nick really. I haven't really done much apart from cleaning. And I've also, as you've seen on my previous video, also replaced the steering wheel with one in a much better condition. All the electrics work. There's nothing that doesn't work apart from the aircon, electric windows, mirrors, etc, etc. And here it is, the boot. I do have a couple of spare gas struts because these ones are a little bit weak, and well, that's all my rubbish in there really. And there you go. Now let's have a look at the engine bay. Through it there. Now, in regards to that engine management light, it's something to do with the EGR valve. I've taken the car to a local dealer. They've plugged it in and they come with several codes related to the EGR, something to do with the low signal and so on, but it needs to be reset. I did replace with a new one, but of course it didn't delete the light on the dashboard, but it needs to be done using VIDA. Also, according to my previous video, I have done quite a bit of work on the engine bay. Apart from a very nice cleaning in order to get rid of historic oil leaks, the fact is that there is still one oil leak on the valve cover. I did replace the gasket, but I think the bolts don't screw very well. I think the threads might be worn, and that's for not holding the valve cover properly in place, and that's where the leak is coming. It has a new vacuum pump, new glow plugs. I replaced the brake booster with a brand new one. A couple of pipes, vacuum pipes, were also replaced. I replaced the front, rear and the side engine mount, and also I flushed and replaced the power steering fluid. It's nice proper green color. There's still some coolant in there. I have to put some. And what else? Of course, I did put a new air filter, and also cleaned all the pipework because it was full of gunk. But it has had a full belt replacement: timing belt, diesel pump belt, and then another auxiliary, couple of tensioners as well, which was done at official Volvo dealer. In regards to electrics, I replaced the front headlights with facelift ones because the other ones were not in very good condition. But sometimes, occasionally, the driver's side one does not work. I don't know, it comes up with low beam failure and so on, but sometimes I give it a bit of a knock and then it doesn't go. Well, that's a pain, but never mind. I also have a grill, a spare grill, because this one, the brackets have gone completely. Also replaced the front wipers, and very important, I replaced all 4 tires with brand new Toyos. This was also a MOT advisory that did show on the report, and it basically, I needed something that would increase the safety. Rust. Okay, this car has a little bit of rust, as you can see in here. And these are the major points of rust. You see, just there you go. That's part of the seal, the inner and the outer wheel arch that need to be cut and replaced with new metal. The best way to do it will be to get a donor car to cut these sections and then weld onto here. A couple of welders told me that it is actually quite a straightforward job to do if you have already the panels. Unfortunately, and this was one of the reasons why I'm stopping the project, I've been let down by a couple of people who promised me the panels and never delivered. And it is also the same story on this side as well, although not as serious, still rust, because this is within 13 centimeters of jacking or seat belt mounting point. It is an instant MOT fail. I do believe that someone with mechanical skills, the space, the time and the money to sort out these issues, this car could be easily pop on the road. Unfortunately, I haven't got any of those. I haven't got welding skills. I haven't got, in terms of mechanical skills, yes, I can do quite a few things really. But if it wasn't for that, I would have carried on with the project. So there you go. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Before I sign off, the car drives, apart from the noise that comes from the drive shaft, the car drives really well. It's nice and comfortable. Okay, the suspension might be a little bit tired, but still does its job. It brakes, steers very well, although there's a bit of a noise when it is on a full lock, which I think it's down to a couple of worn bushes, which were also an MOT advisory, and it's not a big job to do. The same as the drive shaft, it's not a difficult job to do as well, but it's for me the space, the time and the money that I just simply cannot carry on anymore. And I really would like to have this car saved, because I think it has potential really, because this is not just a high mileage Volvo, an old high mileage Volvo. It is a car that I think it needs to be preserved, and I really would like to go to someone that is willing to do so. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me. That's it. Thank you very much for watching.